This is what I used to call home. Born and raised here in Alabama, in the heart of the South, in 1841. Course, then I didn't even know my own birthday. I didn't know lots of things back then. This here is my family before we was separated. Me and my brother Jackson. We was real lucky to stay together after we was sold. We never saw Mama or Papa again. Jackson and me, we was close, like two peas in a pod.
Yeah, me and Myra looked out for each other on Mr. Jenkins' plantation. She was my sister, and I was her big brother. We were all we had.
I learned lots on Mr. Jenkins' plantation. How to wash, to clean, how to cook, and most importantly, I learned my place. I was different than Felicity and Elizabeth, Mr. Jenkins' daughters. I learned I was a slave. It started on an afternoon like any other. Jack and I was waiting on the log right between ours and theirs house, waiting for Felicity and Elizabeth to come home from their school so we could play some whoop.
Whoop was a game where one of us would go and hide, when everybody else would try to find him. And when they did, you shout, "Whoopo!" Playing whoop was our favorite.
I always knew there was something different about them than us, 'cause they always got new dresses when they got dirty, while I had to keep the same stuff all year. If I was lucky, I got their hand-me-downs.
When they got home, we started playing whoop. Myra was hiding first, and me and Felicity and Elizabeth was looking for her. Then Mrs. Jenkins came out and started yelling at them, screaming at them for Lord knows what.
Felicity! Elizabeth! Get in here!
Then they went inside and didn't come out. Mrs. Jenkins came out dragging Myra and came to me and said,
You can't be playing with my girls anymore. You should be serving them.
and then we realized we were slaves.
The next day, we went out to the log like before, thinking Mrs. Jenkins wouldn't mind. We was waiting and waiting, but Felicity and Elizabeth never showed. Then, when we was about to leave, they came out and walked right on by us like we wasn't even there. Something changed. I guess Mrs. Jenkins was right.
After that day, we didn't play no more. We didn't go to the log to see 'em, and they didn't come out to meet us neither. We wasn't friends no more.
The work was harder, and the days were longer. Even if we could play whoop, we didn't have the time to. Jackson worked in the fields under that blazing sun, and I was working indoors, serving the family.
Working in the fields was the hardest labor I've ever done. We worked from sun up to sundown, picking cotton and doing other field work. And we would get beaten if we did something the white overseer didn't like. I thought about running away, but the stories the whites told us about the North made this place seem not so bad. I now know these stories weren't true, but they were strong enough to keep me from running away at the time and working 18 hours a day. My only motivation was the one day off a month I got, and the outside chance that one day I could escape.
My work wasn't in the fields like Jackson. I was inside the main house, cooking meals, cleaning up, folding clothes. Mrs. Jenkins was real particular in how she wanted things done. If I mixed up them forks and spoons, she'd get so mad and yell at me till my ears was ringing, and sometimes I'd get slapped and slapped with cowskin. But sometimes, when I'd pass Felicity in the hallway or clear Elizabeth's place at the table, we'd exchange a look, 'cause we both know how close we used to be. Day in and day out, I thought about getting out of this place, leaving and heading up north. I was scared to try, though, 'cause if I wasn't with Jackson, it wasn't worth it. I couldn't be free without him. If I escaped and he didn't, there'd still be a part of me there with him.
Me and Myra escaped with 5 others running with us. We was lucky because we left with 11 others, but only 5 made it out. We traveled by night so we wouldn't be seen and hid during the day. We eventually made it to Delaware, where we were free.
I'm 64 now and live the life of a free black woman. I've learned things, being up north, being free, how to read and write. But the biggest lesson I learned was how I'm different than the white folk, but I'm free.
And that's our story.